Good channel for Youth at Studio. Now, I had fascinating, I've had a couple of fascinating conversations actually the last few days. Oh, Kate's just throwing it out there. Hey, pretty, before I get in there. I don't know why you just, okay, Kate, yeah. 18,000, 11,067. So how do you need to get to 12? You need to get to 12. Me's going to get to 12 by end of day. So I'm going to do, so I already did some walking on the spot manically while the kettle was boiling when I was making my water bowl to get to 11. Oh, you live being back indoors. I've done a walk at 6 o'clock this morning. I've done a run in the middle of the day, and then I did a manic run on the spot while waiting for the kettle to boil. Layla knows. Layla feels me. Stop it, guys. Come on. 18.7. Give me a break here. 11,067. I've got 1,000 to go. I wish you bring back Downton Abbey. I could do steps in front of Downton Abbey all day, where they talk about tea and cucumber sandwiches. That's me all in. I could do that. Pretty saying I walked manically in my bedroom yesterday to get them in. Pretty, I feel you. My cats was just like, what is she doing? I've not seen her doing this for a long time. It's been months. I'm like this. Come on. That's where I got annoyed. Pretty, because it's not recorded because it thought I was doing an elliptical, apparently. I wasn't. I might as well have been. I think my neighbours thought I was as I was walking past my front window. I'm like this in the window. Everyone else got busted doing that. Put the lights on and then forget it's getting dark and everyone can watch you walking on the spot like an idiot. Right. Sidetracked by people just throwing their steps at me and me going, ha, not there yet. Not there yet. So, I've had some great conversations in the last 10, well not as much as 10 days, probably last week actually, since, funnily enough, since round about last Thursday. That's just coincidence. Now, you can, the theme is running this week in terms of calories and for good reason, because it's quite fascinating how you get easily caught out, right, with a small amount of food and how much calories are involved. So yesterday I went through the coffee and snack scenario, and I can't even remember what I did. Oh, I can't remember what I did at the end of last week. I didn't do that yet, but I will continue with this train of thought, because even from people being back in the home again, it's kind of like I have to go back and do a little bit of a recap of the whole energy balance system. Hey, Chetna. So at some point way back in when we were in single digits of Facebook Lives, I think this is like 200 and something. If I could turn back time, I could tell you the number of the episode. I can't though, so you'd have to check it out on Spotify or other podcasty things. That wasn't smooth, was it at all? However, I talked at some point way back then about the energy balance and about how everybody's energy balance had changed, because energy in or food, right, had, let's be honest, increased to some degree, and activity levels or output had changed, right? They got lesser, and we're kind of in the same arena again, to some degree, right? Now, do I think that the seesaw's shifted in one particular direction more than the other? Potentially, yes. And a lot of it comes down to some awareness pieces around what someone perceives to be a healthy diet and what the content of the diet can be and what is. I've used it a couple of times through the episodes. One of my personal favourites was, for personal reasons of which some of you will know, the Nutella episode. Nutella episode was awesome. One Friday, leave Helen alone with a jar of chocolate spread and some toast and see what happens on a live. Yeah, that was a fun one. So essentially, the point I was making on that live is that essentially chocolate spread gets a bad rap, like it's the devil and it's a really bad thing to be having and it's bad for you, etc. However, 20 grams on a piece of toast was like 100 and, I think it was like 122 calories, something like that. It wasn't a hell of a lot. It wasn't like crazy. And I was saying that, you know, the whole crushed avo and poached egg was with what was it, seeded sourdough, came in like 400 calories or something, insanity, and how actually your conception of having a healthy diet is not too far askew if it's in moderation, like everything. So if I was having a moderate amount of chocolate spread and nuts, I think it was like 70 grams I went for, 75 grams. That was fun to try and put on a bit of bread. 75 grams of chocolate spread, and also messy to weigh out. I mean, spare a moment, that was quite hard work. However, just let you know, I think that came in at something insane. I was like 500 calories for one bit of bread with 75 grams of chocolate spread on, right? But the idea was that actually moderation, and not in a minuscule amount, but somewhere in between the two, you could have a piece of toast with chocolate spread on and not break the bank. I feel like Leia's already like freaking out somewhere. She's still on her right? But you could actually do that and include that in your actual meals and be okay, right? You could actually include that in. The thing is that we perceive that because it's somehow unhealthy and that avocado with poached eggs is healthier, that therefore we're having a healthy diet. So take that concept and roll that through, let's go to the full 3 meals, right? So someone may perceive that they're having a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle, and they can't understand why they're not losing weight, right? So say, I'm not eating that much, Helen. I don't understand why I'm not losing weight, okay? So let's just go back after that statement to the first example I've given. What was it? Again, it was, this is memory bank, isn't it? 1 slice of sourdough, seeded sourdough, and it had chia seeds on it, actually. A teaspoon of chia seeds, avocado, and a poached egg, and it was 400 calories, right? So that was just the first meal. It's over 400 calories just for breakfast. Say if you're having 1 or 2 slices, because the toast wasn't that big, actually. When I was looking at it, when I was putting it together, it wasn't that big. It was not that big, right? So imagine you started at that point with 400 calories, and then take that concept and it's like the same with lunch. I'm not saying they're the same thing. God, hopefully you're not, because that's a lot of avocado. It's a lot of fibre. However, principally the same thing. If you're having what you perceive to be not a lot of food, relatively healthy, all the way through the day, including some healthy snacks. I'm doing the bunny ears again from yesterday. Healthy snacks, right? It's someone comes to me and say, I just don't understand. I'm exercising 4 times a week. I'm eating healthily. My diet is good. Why am I not losing weight, right? Now, this is legitimately, I'm going to run through this particular client's food. Now, this example isn't actually recent. This example is from quite some time ago. I just happened to keep it on file. I made a note of this. So I want to get the specifics, right? Because I want someone to understand the difference between conceivably thinking they're eating healthily and actually what they're consuming, right? So, and this wasn't like a lot, by the way. It wasn't a lot. So 2 slices of peanut butter on toast for breakfast with a couple of coffees, right? Just 2 small juices. Like, not big ones, just, not like litres. I'm talking 2 small juices. A mulla corner. Someone might get that. Ooh, mulla corner. Yeah, no, mulla corner. Yeah, that. A banana. Some nuts in the afternoon. So banana and nuts put together in the afternoon. So banana and some nuts, not a huge amount. We know I did the nuts live where we saw the nuts. It wasn't a massive amount. And in the evening, it was a pasta in a sauce with some vegetables and 1 glass of wine, right, 1 small glass of wine. Now, I had some time on my hands because I did, and I actually nitpicked this client's day's food, which I have done a couple of times over the last 7 days, and I nitpicked. I nitty-pickied, right? So I get everything up, all my tools up and say, right, take me through your day, and this is what I did with this client some time ago, and this is what I've done the last I've done it twice over last week, which is, considering I did this last time quite some time ago, so that's why it was the right time to do this live, because it's happening now. So we went through all that. So just to repeat, so you can imagine it. So for breakfast, this person had 2 slices of peanut butter, 2 coffees, 2 juices. By the way, this is a male client. 2 juices, a mulla corner at lunch, because I thought I was just having a mulla corner. Right, so having a mulla corner at lunch, nothing else. In the afternoon, banana, some nuts, pasta. It was like a spaghetti pasta in the sauce. It was a white sauce, I think it was a creamy sauce, with some vegetables and 1 glass of wine, right? Drum roll of how many calories? You know, I'd love someone to have a go. We won't play the guessing game, that goes on for a while. So I'll just tell you, shall I? So that entire day's food, being that there was no real lunch involved, a Muller corner only in that client's head, came out at 3,653 calories. Say it again. Mainly because I'm like, wow, myself. Like a reminder of how much this was. 3,653 calories, okay? If anyone wants to get, I have got on a desktop somewhere, I've got the actual specifics of that, right? You can actually see how much per area was and total it all up, which is what I had to do. Now, when I asked the client how much they felt and thought they consumed during the day, you can easily assume from the amount I've told you that they thought it was significantly less. They probably, actually from memory, I think they thought it was like, I think most people go for like 1.5 when they think about the food. That's about 1,500 calories. Maybe a little bit more, maybe like 1,800, something like that. Something like that, Helen. I don't know. Like, okay, it's 3,653 calories. Now, principle, right, the thing about this is that principally, if I've just said that, and I did say it on live as well, if you are consuming a relatively realistic amount of peanut butter, like when I say realistic, I don't mean like slathering on, the same as the chocolate sauce or chocolate spread, good on head now, aren't I? On one bit of toast, actually calorifically it's not so much, but this client, 2 slices, probably on the upper end of that. When I just said how much it was for the chocolate spread, it wasn't much difference for the peanut butter, actually. I think it was slightly more. The coffees, right, they weren't black coffees, they weren't reduced milk like we talked about yesterday in terms of changing your coffees out. 2 small juices, they weren't too bad. Muller corner had a catcher out on that one. The nuts was just smashing in calories. I did that. If you haven't seen my snacking, my M&Ms live, do watch that one too. I think that was the day week. And the pasta and wine, right, all totaling over 3,500 calories. Now, the things that, like I said, each of them individually, you could say if you took them in isolation, there's actually nothing wrong with any components of those foods. Not really. Like I could have gone. I wasn't nitty picking, right, when I went through it with this guy. So yes, kind of pulled up how much peanut butter. And principally, actually, if you look at it, coffee, small bits of juice. They weren't massive litres, right? Again, yeah, we did argue with Muller corner. Nuts, no, that's not too bad in moderation. And actually, pasta had vegetables. So there was a carb, there was a protein, there was vegetables in there. Yeah, again, you debate about the wine. It was one off, right? So the thing is that principally in someone's mind, right, in a client's mind and in your mind, you may look at your meals, right, your food and go, I don't understand. There's nothing major wrong with it. It's not like, I do often get the same response. It's not like I'm having cereal every day, Helen. I'm not having a fry up for breakfast. I'm not having like huge meals at lunch. This client was having just a Muller corner, right? Imagine that. You're not really having a lunch in your head. You're having a Muller corner, and it's still enough to get to 3,500 calories, right? I had some pasta. It was right. To be fair, I give this as well. It wasn't a huge amount of pasta. The sauce was a kicker because it was white and creamy. So I know that was calorifically dense, right? But actually, if you looked at it, because I did see the pictures as well, by the way, as well as go through this. If you looked at it, actually, it looks okay. So your perception is it's an okay meal. Now, again, like yesterday, I'm not saying it's about calorie counting. I'm not. It's more about the awareness piece about where to change things up. It's like the client today where we talked about, and to be fair, they were shocked as well. We talked about just one meal over weekends, and it was they had changed their usual choice of sausage to something else, which had taken it from 90 calories per sausage to 150. So it's 150 calories per sausage, plus she put it in a wrap. So that then added an extra 200 calories on the size of the wrap she had. So she took a meal that would have been, what, like 350 calories up to like 500 something calories by changing the content of the meat source alone, right? By just changing this type of sausage, you can vastly change the calorific content of a meal by making a small change. And being aware of where the calories are in your meal helps you make a choice of how much of that item you choose to have in the meal. For example, now if I was aware it was going to be like so many, would you have 1 or 2 sausages? Right? She would make that an awareness then and say, gosh, I didn't know there were that much. Okay, I'll have 1 and have something else with that later, right? But that's the choice sometimes we have to make if we're got a goal towards